working, if we're not in there, grinding it out, so to speak, if we're not doing everything that we can to become who we want to be, we will always fall short of that person. And that's what I realized, is that it wasn't something external to me that I ever had to do. All I had to do was win the battle in my mind. Once I win the battle in my mind, all other battles are won. Like, once I have made peace with myself and I know that if I keep pushing forward, I will reach the results that I want, I don't need to ever doubt myself. Because even if it takes me 1,000 miles further than the next person, if I have to walk 1,000 miles further than the next person to reach my version of success, that is okay. But if I'm afraid to do extra than what other people do because other people didn't have to do as much as me, well, that's weakness. Because, one, we don't know what other people ever had to do or go through, but two, I will never reach any version of success for me if I'm always only willing to do what those around me do. And that's so funny, because that's the trap of society, is that, you got to get a job, you got to get a house, you got to pay your bills, you got to get a car, you've got to get, all the bullshit of society, you've got to go out to eat at restaurants, you've got to get on the piss on the weekend, you've got to be miserable within your life, you've got to be in a relationship, have kids. If you want to have kids, great, have kids. If having kids isn't something that gives you joy, for you to feel that you have to do that to be happy will only ever make you miserable, because you're limiting it. So what I've personally found is that I can never build self-belief trying to achieve or attain things that I do not want. And it's it was hard for me, because it was well, what do I want in life? And, for me personally, I've had a life mission my whole life that up until, this year, I've been too afraid to kick off, or I've been putting off until I was a certain stature, until, I had a certain wealth or income. And, looking back on it, it is so stupid, because if I had just walked the path, even though my whole life I had been walking that same path, the thing was, I was trying to walk that path by where other people said I should walk, instead of just listening to myself and what made me happy. And that's a funny thing. For example, I don't care about having a family. I don't care about having, it'd be nice to have, to find that person in life that you're in love with, your soulmate. That's great. But for me, I want to help people. I want to empower those who others look over. I want to empower those who get left behind by the majority. I want to end poverty. I want to end hunger. Starvation should never be a thing that exists in our society today, but because of selfish, egotistical, greedy motherfuckers, it exists, because you cannot be rich unless there is a poor. And that is what fires me and drives me, to break that, to tear down the bullshit beliefs that everyone holds around. You need to be wealthy, you need to have a fucking Maserati to show cunts that you've got something that they can never have. That is a fucking bullshit belief. And if you hear it in my voice, like, it makes me wild. Like, you don't understand this life mission I'm on. You will never be able to stop me because you do not understand the fire within me. You could put a gun to my face and pull the trigger, and unless that bullet pierces my head, you will not stop me, you will not break me, you will never shake me. And that's an important thing, is when we find our life's mission, when we find our life's purpose, when we decide what it is we want to stand for in life, what it is that we want to pursue and persevere in, nothing can break us and nothing can ever shake our will to push through any and all obstacles. So that's an important thing I've found, is that by finding my personal life purpose and my personal life mission, I found my inner courage. I found my inner belief, because for me, if I do not do it, who will? If I do not push through, who will push through? Should I wait for the government to pull their finger out and actually support communities? Should I wait for the government to stop wasting money on their exorbitant pay packets and maybe feed the nation, feed the starving? Should I wait for corporations and businesses to start being ethical and actually caring for the consumer instead of maximizing profit? The answer is no. It is not their responsibility to do it because they don't believe that it should ever be done. Government, like politicians, don't believe in anything but their pay packets and their control over society. Corporations only believe in maximizing their profit and becoming the number one corporation that they can be. It's not like I hold no resentment to them, but I will destroy them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Not with violence. No. I will destroy them with my work ethic. For they think they are great. And I will outwork them. I will outwork them all. I will show people the truth, which is the illusions that they have spun, the illusions that they have tried to maintain effortlessly. They have just tried to maintain these illusions of division. They have tried to maintain these illusions of consumerism, that I need 5 cars, 3 houses, a boat, a jet ski. I need millions of dollars in the bank to be someone of worth. I need nothing to be someone of worth. Worth is something that is within me. And that's a key thing. We don't need everything to do anything. And that's what I realized. The illusion was I had a belief that I had to become a multi-millionaire before I could do anything because no one would listen to me otherwise. That I had to go out there and become, someone with amazing results before people would listen. But the truth is, I will just keep speaking until people listen. You can ignore me, but you'll never stop me speaking. You know what I mean? You can suppress me if you choose, but I will always keep moving forward. Like, you can't hold me down, because the only way to hold me down is to convince my mind that I am trapped. And so many people I've seen are that in life. Their mind has been convinced that their life is just how it is. Everyone knows that the government overtaxes the population. Everyone knows the government, overspends and wastes taxpayers' money on bullshit that we don't need in society. on stupid, idiotic programs, on fucking corruption, yet everyone always repeats the exact same thing to me. It's just how it is. We shouldn't do it, like, we don't have the power to do anything about it. Know this. Soon, within the next 10 to 15 years, the people will get to the point where they will rise up, where they will overthrow the government. I'm not saying violently, but the thing is, we elect these elected officials to represent us, but they represent themselves. They represent their own bias. Like, they increase their pay packets, yet they don't increase the minimum wage. How does that work? Oh, government can't influence, the private sector in business, yet in COVID, when they wanted to basically show dominance and control the population, they shut down the economy. But they didn't really shut down the economy. It was the decision of everyone in the economy to shut down the economy. Oh wait, they shut down the economy by shutting down the fucking economy. Like, that's the thing. It's all illusions. They say they don't have the power to do this and that, and they can't do this and that. But then when push comes to shove and they want something, they've got it in an instant. Like, honestly, just look at their taxes. Look at any politician's taxes, okay? Put it side by side to someone in the private sector that earns the same amount that they earn. Look at their assets, look at their liabilities, and I promise you, you will be as disgusted as me in our politicians. And it's not just one country, it's all countries. Those who gain power always use it to manipulate it for their benefit. That's just how it is. But regardless, like, the thing is like, in our life, okay, like, it's up to us to decide what we want in life, to decide what we're willing to fight for, to decide what we're willing to push for and what we're willing to go through to get what we want. And if you make, like me, that you are willing to go through any and everything to achieve what you want to achieve, nothing can stop you, nothing can break you. By building internal fortitude and conditioning in, like, language patterns and narratives of, I can do this, I will do this, I am doing this. Like, it is being done. It is being done. Like, we just keep repeating these different language patterns and these different narratives, and we just ignore all of the idiots that try and manipulate and lie to us and tell us that we can't do what we want to do, that we can't achieve what we want to achieve, that we can't go for what we want in life, that we have to settle to live in a small cube, work our entire lives for a company that we hate, in a job that we hate, just so that we can retire for 10 years before we die. Like, what the hell? Like, the funny thing is everyone knows if you work a job that you hate, you will spend and waste money trying to make yourself feel better about who you are. So the cycle ends up being that we work a job for an employer that we don't like. I'm not saying that everyone does. Like, by all means, I love working jobs and I love working for amazing employers. But I'm talking about when we create that narrative in our head that this is just what I have to do to get ahead. This is just what I have to do to live a life. But if the life you're living isn't a life that you want, or that you desire, or that you've dreamt of, what is the point of working a job just to propagate a life that you're miserable in? And that's where I came to. I realized that, like, if I kept pushing myself to, you know, propagate this negative life that I was living, I would only ever become more and more miserable in my life. I would only ever, you know, like, degrade that dream, that desire, that drive in my life. You know, like, the money doesn't matter, because once you start living the life that you dream of, once you start living the life that you want, and I'm not talking about, you know, going and traveling the world and partying in all the best clubs and spending $10,000 a night on alcohol. Like, that's an illusion. Like, no one wants that. The only people that want that are the ones that want to show other people they have what other people don't have. Like, the thing is, if you like drinking piss and alcohol, just make homebrew. Learn how to make the best homebrew. That way you can enjoy the best alcohol at cost price. Like, that's the thing. We don't have to go out there and buy all the brand name bullshit so that we can feel better about ourselves because we're upper class now. I spent my earlier years trying to do that, wasting all my money at bars, at these fancy restaurants, trying to appear as someone who I didn't want to be. You know, I used to date girls only because other people wanted them, not because I wanted them. Because in truth, like, none of them aligned with who I wanted to be in life. And that was a funny thing. It wasn't until I started really diving into what do I want in life, you know, who do I want to be around, what sort of, you know, people do I want to associate with, what sort of work do I want to do. Like, I thought I wanted to be, you know, because of, you know, trying to succeed and become a millionaire, I thought I wanted to be a fucking, you know, business consultant, sales, marketing. I don't care about that. I enjoy it. It's fun. I love selling, because selling is communicating with people. That's the thing. I love communicating with people. I love educating and sharing, you know, lessons I've learned, sharing information I've gathered. That's what I enjoyed about sales, was educating buyers. That's what made me feel good. But then you get all the bullshit pressure of you've got to make them buy. Like, does it really matter if they buy or if they don't? Well, businesses will always tell you, yeah, because we get a bottom line to have. But it's sort of like, I would rather spend the rest of my life being broke and doing what I want to do than to spend one day trying to be someone who I'm not. Like, I got over it. But the thing was, right, in following what you want to follow, in doing what you want to do in life, all those voices in the back of your head, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you've got to make sure you have money in the bank, you've got to make sure you've got security, you've got to make sure. And the funny thing is that I've realized is, regardless on anything I do in life, there is always a period at the start where I have to learn and develop. So, like, you know, I could go out and learn and develop working for someone, but, like, I could always just do it for myself, and then I don't have to put up with, you know, having to manipulate people, having to lie, having to mislead, having to, you know, do all these different things, because unfortunately, majority of businesses will try and tell you that they're ethical businesses, but they're not. If you put profits before customers, you're not an ethical business, no matter what you say. understand, like, if the reason we're in this cost of living crisis at the moment is because every industry in society is all trying to profit maximize, hence the prices are astronomical. The government is restricting, like, and artificially increasing the cost through taxation, and then instead of eating the costs, all the businesses are just passing the costs on to the consumers. So then the consumers are now unable to spend or unable to purchase as much as they could. Like, it's all just artificial. Like,